What does it take to go from 5 million to 47 million in annual sales? I'm here to show you. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Erkka Suvanto. Some of you call me EJ. I'm the guy who's on social media to document my life and show you what it took me to build 3 companies from 0 to 5 million all by myself so that you don't need to make the same mistakes. Today, let's talk about people and their impact on business growth. I want to start by drawing a graph. Here on the left, we have a company at the level of 5 million. And here on the right, and the bar doesn't even go high enough, this is a 47 million company in annual sales. What's the difference between the two, besides the fact that this one is small and this one is 9 times bigger? Other than this was mine and this was my brother's. Operator and chairman, my role. What are the reasons why I wasn't able to grow my company beyond 5 million? People is the short answer. Culture beats strategy any day, every day. That's why being able to scale your business with the right people makes the biggest difference at the end of the day. Today in this video, I'm going to show you what these practical steps are as far as how this business was able to grow 9 times compared to this one and what are the reasons behind it. But let's back up a little bit and go back 25 years to my early days in the corporate world. I was hired fresh off the college. I worked for this global market leader in telecommunications, a huge, gigantic company that was represented in all parts of the world. Young, talented people were hired in masses and they were given roles that were basically too big for them to fill at the outset. Same applied to me. I studied marketing in college and I was a fresh 23-year-old when I joined that company. And I was given a product manager role in the beginning. And to be perfectly honest, I had no clue what I was doing. It was both very encouraging and humbling at the same time, when pretty much without any introduction, you were put in meetings with people 5 to 10 years more senior to you in terms of experience, and you were expected to participate. People didn't really brag about it or talk about this being their style, but it was just the way everybody operated. And pretty quickly you were able to, or you had to, fill those oversized shoes, so to say, and make sure that you were able to contribute in those meetings. And I guess the reason why I was hired was that I was young, energetic, I was aggressive, and I had international background. I was able to speak English, and maybe the hiring manager saw something in me that would benefit the company long term. I was super excited. I got to do a lot. I've always been independent. I don't require or want that much supervision from my managers. So I appreciate a culture where people are given a lot of freedom as far as how they conduct their business and how they solve the problems. And that's what the company offered to me in the beginning. 2 years after that, I was given my first manager task, and I still had no clue. That was my first role ever in managing people in a larger context. And my intuition told me that I can be tough, but I need to be fair at the same time. Balancing the two was kind of natural to me. And I believe I did a decent job in managing my people based on the feedback that I got. I don't believe I was the best manager on the planet in any way, but I did my job and people wanted to work for me. But what was really surprising to me in that big corporation, and this was visible throughout all those 10 or 11 years that I worked for them, was that, in my opinion, the HR department, people responsible for people, were very disconnected from the business itself. And that's something that I always wondered how that's possible, because if you think about small companies versus large companies, in a startup, the founder is the person who understands the business and needs to also recognize the type of talent needed. So in order for you to know what is required at each step of your growth curve, you need to be very comfortable in understanding all the details regarding the business itself. Otherwise, you're going to miss your boat. It's not possible to hire the right talent. And going back to our initial statement about it's about people that makes the biggest difference when it comes to success. Not the perfect X's and O's or the strategy, but the culture and the people that makes the biggest difference. So That was surprising to me. So if we then go back to the startup world from that big corporation and think about growth, I'm going to draw another graph here. So if we think about the steps that a startup is facing, so pretty much all growth is like this. It's not linear in any way. And one of the hardest things for entrepreneurs to understand and recognize is what good and excellent looks like at each levels. So in order for you to crack the question about growth, you need to always revisit the plateaus, the times when you don't grow, and figure out what is it that we do to expedite the growth and be able to take the business to the next level. Because the old saying goes like this: so your business always grows until its next bottleneck. And if we think about the skills required for an entrepreneur, so 3 major ones: sell, build, and lead. And in this order. Every single company that's below $1 million a year needs to market more, promote the business. And there are 4 ways to do that. You can create organic social media content. You can reach out to strangers. You can contact people you know, and you can run paid ads. Those are the 4 ways. So that all falls under the selling and marketing category. So then in order for you to improve your product and your service, to create a brand and make sure that the customers keep coming back, you need to learn how to build. And then to get your company to the next level, to a stage where you can actually sell it, it becomes an asset, you also need to know how to lead, because nobody follows idiots. So coming back to our graph here, so what is then the reason why this company here, mine, was capped at 5 million, and this company here was able to grow almost to 50 million a year in annual sales? The reason is that I was able to handle sell and build as a skill, but I was unwilling to go to the lead category. There are reasons for that. But understanding what happens here when the business plateaus, what is that we need to do to take it to the next level, is one of the hardest questions to crack for any business. And many companies are very good at understanding and building their customer acquisition process. But they forget that the talent acquisition is equally important. And if your talent acquisition cannot match your customer acquisition, then you're always capped at your personal max, which happened to me. So my personal maximum, as far as what I can handle as a 1-person company, and this was guaranteed stretching myself extremely thin, was at 5 million. Because I was either incapable or unwilling to take the next steps needed and recognize what is it that excellent looks like at this level versus this level versus that level. So I made a decision in the beginning not to hire anybody. And I would say I was really stubborn as far as really willing to test myself and see how good I truly am. Everybody kept telling me that, no, you can't do it that way, you can't do it that way. And I was like, well, life is about seeing how good I truly am. So if your maximum personal capacity was there, I want to see what my cap is. And now I know that it's at 5 million. Now I can talk about it so that you guys don't need to make the same mistake. But if we go back to that customer acquisition process, so basically the way it looks is like this. So we have a lead. After that, we nurture the lead. Then we have a sale. Then comes onboarding. And then comes retention. Okay? So if we think about the process when it comes to hiring talent, it's the exact same thing. Your lead is your application. You post an ad, a job ad, you want people, you want to recognize talent, hire the best possible talent. This is your job ad. You nurture the lead, you go through the interview process. Sale is the same as hire. Onboarding is the same as training in the beginning, how you bring the people in, and retention is to make sure that you take care of those people. So the exact same process. So this applies to customers, and this applies to employees as well, so people. So both need to be in order so that growth like this can happen. If you only handle one part of it, you have the customer side taken care of, you capped at your personal max. And it's about whether you can do 500K, 5 million or 50 million, depending of course on the business. But the personal cap comes so much sooner with that process. So to summarize our discussion up to this point, the reason why many businesses don't make money or can't grow is because of people. We don't know how to operate and manage people. Oftentimes founders could be very good at creating the strategic vision or take action, do the little details when it comes to being the manager on a daily basis. But operating and managing people is the bottleneck. Sell, build, and lead. Lead being the last of the three major skill areas is usually the biggest roadblock at the same time. If I go back and look at my own shortcomings, I'm a good operator, but I believe I'm an average leader. In order for me to grow a business beyond that 5 million, I need a right hand. I need somebody next to me whose sole objective is to make this business the best possible place for our people to work in. With that combination, I can overcome the shortcoming when it comes to my inability to be an excellent, best possible people leader and only focus on my core strengths, and I have the other person like a co-CEO next to me be the one who takes care of the people better than I can do it. And that's also one of the reasons, like in my case, where entrepreneurs and business owners, if they have pattern recognition, they can go back and look at their first, second, or third business. And when they create their next one, they understand regarding that pattern from the past, what is it that I did right and what were the pitfalls in the past. We can learn from them, and recognizing talent and understanding that we are all good at something. Maybe people management isn't my core strength. When we have pattern recognition and we understand what good talent looks like at each level, we have a very good chance of growing our next business in a much better way than what we did in the past. So going back to our core question about the difference between 5 and 47. So what are the practical steps? There are 4 of them that every one of us can do in order to take our company to the next level and create an asset that we can sell. Step number 1, learn how to lead. And this pretty much means that we need to fix our own shortcomings first. If we have trouble hiring people who are better than us, maybe we have insecurities, etc. It all starts with understanding where we are today, like in the navigation example. You can't get your directions to your final destinations until or unless you know where you are right now. So understanding where I am as a manager today and what is that I need to do to become a better leader is the first step. So learn how to lead. Step number 2, build a process. And this applies to both customer and talent acquisition. So both customer and talent acquisition. This is very crucial. As we mentioned in the past, so if we only have the customer acquisition channel in place, there's no way we can grow our company beyond that personal maximum that we have. We are always capped at what we can do as a solo entrepreneur. Number 3, learn how to recognize talent. Recognize talent. Talent requirements are very different in the beginning versus when you are 30 million. And this is one of the biggest reasons why small companies stay small, because they fail to understand what talent is needed at each level. What do I need when I'm at 1 million? Do I need admin support? What do I need when I'm at 1.5 million? Do I add another admin, or do I hire a sales manager? Or do I hire an HR person? What is the priority in my business, given my size, given my personal capability, and given my business needs? This is super hard. And as I mentioned a few minutes ago, this is one of the biggest tasks and most difficult things for entrepreneurs to understand and recognize. And also one of the biggest reasons why we stay small, if we stay small. Why did I stay small? Is 5 million small? I don't know, depending on how you look at it. But it's because of my personal decision and personal issues or shortcomings as far as being unwilling to hire more people. So that's a good example of what happens when you don't face those issues and when you don't understand what is required at each level to grow the business. So recognize talent, number 4. Number 3. Number 4, learn how to retain people. This is crucial. If we look at or think about customer dissatisfaction, by far the biggest reason why people are dissatisfied with a product or service is that the expectations that were set in the beginning did not meet with the delivery. So the promise versus the delivered product or service did not match. If we want to fix our customer satisfaction, our churn issues, that's the number 1 thing to do. Making sure that we set the right expectations and we meet those very same expectations. It's no different with people. When you learn how to retain, you understand that whatever you promise, whatever you define with that person who applied for the job and was selected, that is the expectations that you set in the beginning. And then it's up to that person to meet those expectations. But we need to make sure that those two are as close as possible. So the person who's hired knows what is expected from him or her. So this would be the 4-step process for any business to follow to expedite growth, focusing on people and the lead skill. That's all for today. Thank you for watching. Take care.